Okay, can you see this like curly hair right here? That's crazy. Hey, what's up? Hello. This is just super generic, super basics. My only qualification is that I do this every day and I feel like it looks pretty good. But I have no formal education. That's not true because I was gifted a book by Bobbi Brown when I was like 8 and read that religiously. So I feel like I did kind of have professional training because Bobbi Brown kind of knows what she's doing. This is just kind of encompassing the basics, my like kind of just go-to more generic routine, and just some things to like be aware of when like choosing makeup. Super off the cuff because everything I do is so I have recently become hyper aware of spraying setting spray in my hair, and then I found this I found this headband in my closet, but I discovered is like a really good, I think it's supposed to be like one of those fancy, one of the like cutesy get unready with me, but I did discover that it does kind of hold the hair back. The thing is, I'm nervous about this being white and then getting bronzer all up in it. I guess that's what washing is for. The first thing you're gonna want to do is your skin. Prep your skin, skincare, whatever. Now this is gonna look different for everyone, but it's gonna kind of follow the same. And I'm sorry, I feel like no one's gonna be able to take me seriously, but I also feel so cute. It kind of follows the same format, at least it should, and then you kind of tailor your products and like what you like and what is good for your skin, whether you're dry or oily or combination. And I'm pretty dry skin, so I focus a lot on hydration. Emphasizing hydration before you do your makeup will help with the wear of it. It will help keep your skin healthy because you don't have extra product drying it out, all that jazz. So I like to start with a facial mist. I have a few of these different Mario Badescu ones. You can use a Thayer's, you can use whatever you want. These just help to literally put water and moisture into your skin. Then I use the Thayer's Hydrating Milky Toner. I have snow mushroom and hyaluronic acid. I don't really know about snow mushroom, but the hyaluronic acid is something that is naturally occurring, that when you add it with a product, you're kind of just like putting it back into your skin, bolstering it, helping to keep moisture in and lock moisture in. Then I do snail mucin cream. And of course I'm filming this with the front camera and I probably won't remember to flip it, so it's not going to be legible. A lot of people use regular snail mucin gel, but I prefer the cream. I feel like it just is more cohesive on my face. But essentially, something to put moisture on your face, something to bolster the moisture, and something to kind of lock it in. Then you're going to want to do SPF because the skin on your face is thinner. Obviously, it's the thing that catches all of the sun. And like I have a lot of like sunspots and things that have cropped up this summer because I was negligent to use SPF. This is the Medicube No Cast Just Glow 50 SPF. This is pretty good. I don't have a huge repertoire of sunscreens. I don't have like really preferences on them. This I just was influenced to buy and it's pretty good. I also have historically used SPF primers. So this is the NYX blur screen and this is the e.l.f. broad spectrum, whatever, it's a blurring. They're both pretty good. I mean, I think the primer is fine, but it's mostly about the SPF. So I've already done my skincare. It's still a little, like I can still kind of feel it. I added the SPF, but I am going to go back with the blurring just for an extra and then like a little bit of primer. And this is too much. This kind of goes a long way. But for something like SPF, you know, you want to hit the high points of your face. I'm putting it above my lip again because I've let some discoloration happen. Maybe I'll do my eyelids and stuff too. And if you've already put on like actual sunscreen SPF primer is kind of redundant, but it works. So once that is in, kind of let it settle for a second. And then is going to be your base product. Now, some people like to do concealer and then base product. But by base product, I mean like foundation or skin tint. Some people like to do the concealer first. I haven't tried it, but this works for me. So the things that I've been using, because I have several, are the Wet n Wild Bare Focus Hydrated or Tinted Hydrator. This I really like. It's a little bit darker, a little more rosy for me. And then I recently got the L'Oreal True Match. I am a true neutral. This is a great time to talk about that. So something you're gonna wanna do when you're getting into makeup and you're trying to understand like what is gonna work for me is going to be not only your undertone, but also just the colors of your face. So for your undertone, you can just do a quick Google. You can do like a color analysis on ChatGPT or like a YouTube video or something. I think I am like a cool winter. I don't really know what that means other than I look good in navy. So if you see me wearing this shirt a lot, it's because I have 3 of them because I love it so much. But I know my color family, which then helps with like what shade of cheek or lip or whatever should I do. But then I also know my undertones, and that's something too that you can just Google, like, how do I tell my undertones? Because I don't have it memorized, but I know that it has to do with like the vein colors in your arm. It's kind of hard to see, but it's kind of like bluish green. And again, when you're looking at a chart, it's going to be like, oh, this, whatever. But I am a true neutral. And I think part of that, I mean, obviously it's like literally my skin, but I don't get super red. Like I don't flush. I have cool hair, but it still has like golden undertones and the blue eyes and whatever. That's my color family, like the winter. And then my undertones are neutral. The undertones are gonna come into play, especially when you're buying foundation. As you can see, this is N3, so neutral 3. So this is like a fair, okay, neutral, light, medium. So you might be warm, and that typically is like a W, or C is for cool. A foundation like this, like a drugstore foundation, which this really rocks and is pretty highly regarded, you can't swatch it. Like if you go to Sephora and they have like the Armani Luminous Skin Finish or whatever, you can swatch it on your neck and see, which that's another thing. Go for your neck because you want to match your face to your neck as opposed to like swatching it on your hand, because like the colors and the reflection are all the thickness of the skin is going to be different. So swatching it on your neck is sometimes even better than swatching it on your face, but definitely better than swatching it on your hands or your arms. If you're doing like eyeshadow or blush, your arm or whatever is fine. That, at least in my opinion, is more about seeing the pigment and how it lies on my skin rather than does it match. Because you can kind of see like this is a cool pink or this is like a bright red or a baby pink or whatever. That's more up to your discretion, though your color family can influence that. Anyway, when you're buying something from Sephora, you can swatch it. You can see like, oh, this totally matches, this totally doesn't. When you're buying something from Target or Ulta or Walgreens or whatever, you can't swatch. So you either have to really know yourself and know your skin tone and your shade, or do some research beforehand. One of the ways that I do that research is by just going to the website, because not all, for example, the tinted hydrator, which oftentimes a tinted, what do they call it? Like a tinted serum or like a skin tint won't have a shade range. So this, for example, is just light. There's like 5. It's like fair, light, light, medium, deep, and dark or something. Whereas something like a foundation is going to have a broader shade range. It's going to have undertones. It's going to have whatever. You might have like 30 different shades. So for a tinted hydrator, skin tint, whatever, you're kind of going in just color family. So that's where I say like it's a little warm on me. And I can even like the like like face tracker thing is like right over where I put it on my neck. You can see it doesn't totally blend in, like it's a little warmer, which is fine. So this is something that you get kind of in the shade family. Like this I'm not going to really be able to use outside of summer. But for a foundation, this you at least want to get like a lot closer. And everything too looks a little different when you like versus when you kind of blend it out. I feel like this isn't really doing a good job of showing anything, but I know this is my shade. So anyway, back to it. I go to the website, I look at what they recommend, because sometimes a website will say like, oh, this is only light, but if you are this shade of something else, or like it'll kind of tell you the undertones, which again, not so much with a skin tint, but sometimes depending on the brand. Sometimes like this says light, medium, neutral, cool, love it. And it's called N3. Sometimes the shade is like ivory, soft beige, and you're like, I don't know what that means. So sometimes the website will say true neutral, cool, warm, whatever, and you can kind of go from there. So I go to the website, I look at what they say, I look at what they recommend, because not all of them are as clearly labeled. And then sometimes there are tools on the website where you can input whatever you wear in like a different brand and kind of reverse engineer, or it'll, you know, what it will tell you. So for example, another foundation that I have that is my shade but also pulls like slightly too light is the MAC Studio Fix, and I wear this in N4.5. So then I can go to the L'Oreal website and say, I wear MAC N45, what's it gonna be in my L'Oreal shade? And something like MAC, where it's like an artistry brand, it's like 4.5, right? Like they're gonna have sometimes they have like 3.2 or 5.7 or whatever, 7.5. Like they will have so many more ranges, where something like the L'Oreal True Match that is drugstore, it's just kind of accessible. It'll be like medium, warm, cool, in fair, light, medium, and deep. So it's about knowing the brand that you're working with, but it's gotten to the point where a lot of these websites will help you out. They'll kind of give you like a, hey, this is what we would do, or this is what we recommend based on whatever. So you can go to the website. If you're buying a higher end, something from Sephora, you can swatch it in store. That's the other thing too. Like this one is 4 and this one's 3. Obviously, the more shades that you have, the more numbers you'll have, but you will kind of be in the same range, like a 3 or a 4 or a 5 or a 6 or something. But I'm neutral. I'm light. I'm like a fair light in the winter, light and medium sometimes in the summer. And I have a little bit of sun, a little bit of color, but not a dramatic amount. Anyway, we'll go in now. I'm gonna put it on the back of my hand. And there are some products that you really want on the back of your hand, and some products where it's like kind of doesn't matter. And then I am just gonna put like a thin layer on my face. And truth be told, my skin is a little bit more dry than I typically like to do it. As in, I put my skincare on a longer time ago than I normally do in between application and my makeup. And also, I'm sitting in front of like a bright mirror with like really, like, you want natural light, but sometimes you don't want like the most natural light, because it is going to kind of show everything. And I don't have a fancy setup. I don't really care to like, it's more about the words that I'm saying. I feel like I'm a tell don't show kind of gal. Case in point with whatever's happening around my nose right now. I also don't do my makeup sitting down. I was listening to a podcast this morning and they were talking about how they like always do their makeup sitting down. And I don't really like to do very much sitting down. I like to be up and talking and whatever. So I use like a pump and a half, definitely too much for me. But what I'm gonna do is, after it's kind of all on, I'll take like a flat foundation brush and kind of just work the rest in. You can bring it down to your neck a little too. Again, like the camera also versus the mirror. We're just gonna go with what I say and not what I do, okay, everybody? And you might feel strongly about not using a brush. You might feel strongly about using a sponge, whatever. I do think that applying a thin layer with your finger and then working in with a brush or a sponge is kind of the way to do it, because then you get a much more uniform, worked in finish, and it's not gonna be like, oh, and now my foundation's coming off and I'm putting my blush on. The other thing that I've been doing recently, especially, and this is going to depend on your formula, you might have a really wet foundation, especially if you have dry skin, or if you are more oily, you might have a really dry foundation. Sometimes a brush or a sponge and just like a bouncing motion can help kind of pull some of that out, or like just even it out. I don't know. People say like use a wet sponge. I don't totally get that, to be honest. But what I have been doing is taking some setting spray. This is just the Wet n Wild matte finish. And I'll just like spray that and kind of bounce. And I feel like it kind of gives like an initial set while also making sure that it's like really worked into my skin. And there it is. Now, the next thing we're going to do, and this has recently become my favorite part, is concealing. This is the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Concealer. This is in the shade Light Cool, shade 20. This is a line that runs a little warm. So like I said, I'm a true neutral. but I had to get the cool shade of this because it just was still like a little orangey. And that's something that you sometimes have to take a risk on, or you just like build up your eye. This is a $5 concealer. It's really good. It's really good. I don't know that I'm gonna repurchase it because I would like to try other ones, but if you're like, I need an intro to concealer, this is a great place to start. Oh my gosh, I just talked a whole bunch and it wasn't recording. I'm using a brush. I used a brush. I put the concealer on. I think you should probably be using a slightly smaller one, but every time I try to go and buy brushes, I chicken out. And so this is just like a cream and powder face brush, and it works great. It's just like a little bit of lightening, and I feel like it keeps the coverage on. Because I was using a tiny sponge for a while that I was keeping in this old pill case, and I mean, you can see kind of how much product has come off of it, that I felt like it was kind of diluting it. And so one day on a whim, I was like, oh, I'll just try the brush, and I really liked it. Now that I've done the concealer, I'm gonna kind of brush out my brows. Brows are one thing that are so personal. So I'll show you what I do, but this is gonna be a matter of, because I already have like brows. Like I don't have to draw anything on. I don't really have to shape them very much. So that's something that if you're like, I don't know what to do, I'm gonna have to tell you to talk to somebody else, because other people know more and have better techniques and better tips than I myself do. But in brushing it out and kind of getting the general shape, I'm ready for my next step. But that's the other thing too about brows. Like some people do them very first, some people do them very last. I kind of do them like in the middle. But when they're at least brushed, I'm ready to go in with my bronzer. And this is something I referenced earlier about understanding the colors in your face. This is something I learned from a lovely Irish model named Juliana Shield. A few videos ago, I followed her pale girl makeup routine and it freaking rocked. She talks about how when she does not have self-tanner on, she does not have the shades in her face for a bronzer. So she uses a cool contour only, and it totally rocks and it totally works. Like I used my, you can watch the video, but I used my paler shade. It was perfect. So because of the principle of picking colors that match the shades, the shadows of your face naturally, let me show you. And you might be watching this and be like, you're totally out of your freaking mind. But then I'm going to do it and you're going to be like, oh, okay, she kind of knows what she's talking about. This isn't really, these aren't, like this shadow here is not this color. It is, however, this color. And because I'm a true neutral, something like this, which I still do use, I have to be really careful about because it can be pretty orangey. Okay. This color is not on my face, right? This is a lot. This is a lot for my face to hold. But then if I use, I'll grab my other one because this is the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. They don't make this anymore, but there's so much product in there. I'm going to be using this forever. The other bronzer that I use periodically, which truthfully I don't love nearly as much as I love this one, but there are days when I prefer to use it. It's the Say Dew Bronze, and this is in the shade Sail. Do you see though, like the presence of orange in this one versus the like cool, there are some reds in here. It just works so much better for my face and for my needs. So this is something where, yes, you can learn your undertones, you can learn your color family when you're choosing pinks and reds, but this is something that you kind of have to look at yourself and know. And yeah, I get some crazy looks from the people at Sephora when I say that this is the shade of bronzer that I use. But when it goes on, it makes sense in my face. There is shade harmony there. So I'm just kind of swirling it around. When you find your cheekbone, go under a little bit, but then kind of coming, you always want to be working up and backward. Unless, of course, you want to look like you're dragging your face down to the earth. Maybe that's your thing. But I kind of go on the underside and top of my cheekbone. I don't want to like rub my hands all over my face and like streak things. But this is something, you know, when you're kind of like take a flashlight and play with the shadows of your face, or, you know, just kind of do like a massage and feel around for what's there. This again, like, you know, you can give the tip of where to place bronzer on your cheekbones and everything, but that's something that only you can know for your face. But on the whole, we're gonna kind of just do the perimeter, and this is reintroducing shadow, this is giving dimension, this is giving a little bit of warmth back into your face, especially if you use a full coverage foundation or skin tint or whatever. And then as far as placement goes, I like to bring it in a little bit more on my actual like cheek part, but you can put it like really close to your ear and just have it like super snatched. You can follow the contours of your jaw. But that is the thing about bronzer, is that it isn't about contouring, it's about warming. And so you can do a contour and a bronzer. If you watch my Pale Girl makeup routine, that talks about where to put contour placement. But on the whole, for bronzer, you just want to warm and you want to bring dimension. What my like favorite step is to then take the bronzer and like a small fluffy brush, which I use this for like 6 other steps, put it a little bit on, and then go into the inner brow bone sort of deal. I'm actually not sure what you call this, but like partly contouring my nose, partly carving out my eyebrow. Like just this the difference in the drama. I feel like my eyes are my best feature and I really want to emphasize them. And this is something too, you can kind of drag it over to your orbital bone. If you don't do that, you can also just like put it on that bone and drag it outward. That's going to kind of help lift. And I like to take the side of the brush as well, kind of feather it, and then put it like right under my eye and drag it outward, so that I'm creating cohesion in that shading. I'm gonna have to do a smaller video sometime about like using the wrong shade of bronzer, because again, like you look at this and you're like, girl, and then it's on my face and I still might be delusional, feel like it's 100% cohesive. And even if it isn't, I like it. So I'm gonna keep doing it. So that's bronzer. As a rule of thumb, if you want to look more like you're wearing makeup, put more makeup on. But this is just kind of the day-to-day. I'm gonna go in and do my brows now. Again, it's never like I'm doing this in the same place every time, but this is the e.l.f. brow instant brow lift or whatever. It's never in the same place every time, but it always gets done. This is a product that I've been using since I was 15 or 16, and I don't see any reason to replace it. It does exactly what I need it to, and it's like $3. And for me, in my shape of eyebrow, I kind of just fill in the tail and soften it. So I'm making sure that this part of it is as defined as the rest of it. And sometimes I'll do like a little shading in the front, but I do kind of leave the ends of it sparse. And I'm the type of person, if I get close, like you can see, I do not touch my brows. Partly because I want them to be big and I want them to be dramatic. Partly because I'm scared and I don't want to do anything to them, because I think they're so great exactly as they are. And I really just am kind of like an undone gal anyway. I like to have, I don't know, or whatever. That's just how I like to do it. Let's do some eyes first. I'm going to be using this Bobbi Brown, just like super neutral eyeshadow palette, just for like a little bit of dimension. And you can do, like, this is the mirror that I'm using. I just got this and I'm obsessed with it. This like super vibrant Morphe palette. Ooh, you know, do whatever you want, but for the sake of just education, we'll just do this. For eyeshadow, again, and for most of this, it's about building out dimension. So just kind of starting with like a general sweep to kind of neutralize. I don't know, I'm holding it like that. And again, this is the brush that I use for contour. You're gonna see it again potentially when I do powder. It's my favorite, and I could buy more, but again, I just chicken out. So that was the lightest shade, literally just like a gentle sweep across. Like there's nothing, but it's kind of mattifying. And then I'm gonna take the mid tone here, hi there in the camera, and kind of pack it in and sweep it out. And this is a super neutral, it's not a very pigmented palette, and it is pretty old. So I've had it for at least 8 years, and my aunt gave it to me. It honestly could be like a 15-year-old palette, I'm not even gonna lie. We won't talk about it. But again, like I did with the bronzer, coming under my eye. So yeah, this is a much cooler palette. But because I have like cool brown hair and cool blue eyes, like there isn't any, I don't say there isn't any warmth to it, but like it's not like a reddish brown or like a purpley blue. Like it's like a gray blue, it's like a black brown kind of deal. It's very subtle. We can even do like a little bit of the darkest shade and kind of go like right onto that orbital bone, the bone that's right there, and just like smoke in a little shade. Again, very subtle, not a super pigmented palette, but especially with eyeshadow, and this is my personal philosophy as well. Eyeshadow, I'm gonna forget about it. I'm sweaty, you know, like I also have hooded lids. Like eyeshadows just don't last very long on me. And so I just kind of work with what I'm going to anticipate happening in 3 hours, which is that it's going to come off. So I'm just going to do a little bit of something that gives it a little dimension, gives it a little zhuzh, and then I'm not going to worry about it, or I'm not going to be like, oh, I just spent all this time doing this look and now it's come off my face. You know what I'm saying? Another thing you can do is take like a really fine brush like this and take the dark shade. I especially like to go under my eye on account of my eye shape. I've never been one that could do like a wing liner, mostly on account of the hood, the hood of my eyelids. But when I do just like a little bit underneath, it just kind of creates a cohesion and creates a drama. And you can do the same thing on the top as well. I just don't think I personally will this time. I don't know if this is educational at all or if it's just some girl staring at herself in a camera having a good time. But if it is, living the dream personally. So yeah, just a little bit of something. Just a little something. And I honestly feel like a little more shadow on this eye. Something that I learned from the Bobbi Brown book ages ago is that you don't always want to do your makeup really up close. And that's something, so like if you're in with your brows or your eyes or something, definitely feel free to get up close. But then when you're done with that step, instead of like staring at it really intently, back up, look at it from another angle, look at it from further away. That's going to give you more perspective of how it looks. Because too, like when I'm like really up close, you can see all my texture and my sun damage and everything. But then when it's further back, it has the softer peel. It looks more cohesive. Do your detail work, look at it from afar. That kind of thing. And I feel the same way when I'm doing like blush sometimes, and I'm like, is it even on, or like, is it too heavy? I'll literally like, and then look back at myself. I'm like, oh, it's fine. Sometimes you just need the perspective. So that's a little bit of eyeshadow. Very subtle. Again, just kind of adding drama, not drama, but adding dimension, adding a little color. We'll do some blush now. I've really been liking the like bronzer only look recently, and that actually might be what I do today, but I'll still talk about blush. One thing about understanding your color family, your season, your undertone, whatever, is going to be the undertones of the colors that you use. So for instance, Aquaphor. I just gave my sister all of my like baby pink blushes, the like super soft, light, kind of like these colors, because they look chalky on me. They're too light. They are too baby pink to really show up on my face other than like white chalky. I live for this shade, this like mauve that I got at Costco years ago, because it is very similar to my lip and the inside of my lip. That's another thing, like you can check the inside of your lip. I also love red. This is Natasha Denona. This is Pure Lisse. Got it at Costco. This is Natasha Denona. Didn't need to spend $42 on it, except I would spend $84 on this because it's so freaking good. Red goes really well with my undertones. It brings out my eyes. It fits in my color family. Red typically does for everyone because there is red somewhere in your complexion. You just have to pick a good red. So this, I think it's called like watermelon or something. This is a pretty neutral, like almost bluish red. If you're warm, you want something a little more orangey. If you're cool, you want something a little bit more blue. As a neutral, I want it right in the middle, and this totally works for that. I'm going to use today, however, the shade that just already exists in my color. Like it's kind of like in my nose, it's definitely in my lip. Whatever your lip is, whatever your, you know, preference is, you might love how the baby pink looks on you, even if it pulls a little chalky or if it's like way vibrant, whatever. That then is like up to your preference. My preference is to have something that kind of looks like it was on my face already. Like with bronzer, we want to kind of focus upward. And there are different tutorials and different suggestions about like placing it here or here or here or, you know, whatever. Find what you like and what is best for your face. I like to do kind of the top of my cheekbone, and you can see like it's subtle. It's just barely there, and it's kind of blending in with my bronzer as well. That's how I like it. Another thing that I like is to kind of bring it down. And this is, I think, a hot take because some people really kind of hate the like cheek on the front or blush on the front of the cheek. And you can kind of get a little bit close into your eye. I wouldn't really go much further than like here because you don't want like a crazy harsh vibrancy, but you also don't want to totally undo the concealer. Something that I've liked also is just putting a little bit above the peak of my brow. Brings it all together. Throw some on your chin and on your nose for cohesion. And again, it's not really there, but then if I take it all off, you're like, oh, or if you scrub the video back 30 seconds, you'll be like, oh yeah, it's on there. The next thing that I'm gonna do, and this is where I kind of go back and forth, like using a powder puff or using a brush, but I think I'm gonna use a brush today, is powder. So this is the L'Oreal Infallible Blurrfection in light pink, and it freaking rocks, dude. So I've picked it up with my brush and I've swirled it around as well because you don't want to like heavily concentrate. And then I'm just like brushing that under my eye and where I put concealer. And you can see just like the subtle difference in blurring and just like creating a cohesion. So again, just picking some up, kind of swirling it around, getting as much as I can an even spread of it. And then just kind of like swiping and patting. Definitely where you put concealer. You can also put some on your forehead. Definitely where you put concealer, but also kind of where you get oily. So if it's your forehead or your chin or whatever, this is an amazing powder. I know that some people have preference for like the Laura Mercier or Charlotte Tilbury or whatever, and there are some that are better at oil control specifically, but for just like a generic, you kind of want something light, you want something brightening, this one is amazing. I was influenced to purchase it, and I don't know that I will ever use another powder, basically. So this is kind of the end. We're getting to the end. Now we're bringing it all together, but we've talked about undertone, we've talked about your own color family, and you know, the principles of what makeup is supposed to do, which is debatable, but I think it's dimension, I think it's enhancement, I think it's having a great old time. Again, I read at a really young age the book by Bobbi Brown, Beauty Rules, I think it's supposed to be kind of both, and it really was amazing, just talking about like finding makeup for yourself, ways to kind of just have a good time and learn about things, and then some really helpful pointers. So like if you can find a book like that by a makeup artist or watch something from someone who actually knows what they're doing. I think some people digitize the like VHSs from like Mac back in the day, and those are super cool, but it really is just so much of experimenting and being brave. And I think a really safe way to be brave is by understanding your undertone and your color family and like looks that you like. For example, I can find a lipstick that's like exactly my color because a bunch of other people have some that are like their color and they love that, but I like a really frosty nude lip, and so then I'm looking for the lipsticks and lip colors in that family. You know, your color analysis might come back and say that you look dang good in berries, but you kill for a red blush or baby pink or whatever, then that's up to you. That's the fun part. But I think understanding where your undertones are, and then, you know, the shades and the colors of your face and what you just like to wear, there you go. And then you can, you know, I'm going to try this blush, or I'm going to try this bronzer, or pencil or whatever. And then if you're like, I hate that formula, it doesn't wear on me, then you're like, okay, well then I know that I just don't like this product. It's not like, oh, I hate this color, now my experience with blush is ruined. That's my recommendation in terms of like where to start. Start with yourself, start with what you think you want, and then learn what people offer in product. You don't have to spend a ton of money. You can get a lot of Ulta or Amazon. Honestly, Amazon, feel however you want to about Amazon, but you can get some really good discounts on makeup. I want to do like a tour, like everything that, like literally everything that's in both of my bags. I want to go through all of them and talk about them. Anyway, getting to the end, now is where I like to do highlight because I'm about finishing. And today, because I did a more neutral or more subtle blush, I'm gonna go in with, this is the Say Glow Sculpt in Pink Glow. And this is marketed as blush, but it is very, so like when I swatch it, you can see that it is pretty pigmented. And I thought it was just like a highlight for the longest time. And then I realized that like it actually does add color into my face. I think I made the joke about like go over your face with a flashlight and see where like the light falls, but I think legitimately might be a good idea. This, I'm just like hitting the high points of my face. This is not my favorite highlighting product, but it is the one that I am implementing today because it does have some pigment to it. And I didn't powder bronze. I'm not going to because again, it just is like really orangey. So part of the high points are definitely like your brow bone and your nose. This is my favorite highlighting product. It is the ColourPop Super Shock highlighter, and mine is broken as heck, but this, I have repurchased this 3 or 4 times since I turned like 15 because it just is my favorite. And this, I like to just go on the inner, oh my gosh, we haven't even done lashes yet. Like to go in the inner corner of my eye. And I feel like it just, especially if you can kind of concentrate it and put it like right in the corner, it just has like such an illuminating effect. And you can sweep a little bit of this wherever you please. It's fun. Let's do lashes now before I forget again. I love curling my lashes. I have one that is specifically for almond eyes. So like the cup of it is a little bit more shallow because I have pretty shallow, long eyeballs. I don't exactly know how to like coach someone into picking the correct eyelash curler, but definitely knowing the shape of your eyeballs, and then if they like are more protruding or more elongated, you can find different curlers for different eye shapes. So I take mine and I just pulse. Mine is the Tweezerman brand, and I do love it. I know ones that I don't like, and I don't really have cause at present to find anyone. Mascara is something that is deeply personal, and it's also deeply personal to the manufacturer because there's like all sorts of different like brush shapes and like, is it tubing or is it waterproof or whatever. Similarly with my eyebrows, I have really dark, really long, pretty full eyelashes. So I don't spend a lot of time thinking about mascara, but I do know the ones that I like. This is the It Cosmetics like Hello Lash Plus. I think it is like a serum mascara. So it has like vitamin E in it. It's a slightly more dry formula, so it clumps a little bit, but like it just is, it's pretty natural, pretty no frills. I really like it. This comes in a pack of like 3. There's like 2 other It Cosmetics ones. I eat those suckers up. What I think I'm gonna do next is the Lancome Lash Idole. This is one of my favorites, and it's like so clean. And I'm just gonna go over that a little bit more. I don't really know that that's making a huge difference, but if it makes a difference in your mind, it makes a difference on your face. And so that's kind of it. You might like something, again, it kind of depends on you. It depends on your shape. It depends on your preference. It depends on the color of your eyelashes, whether you're using black or brown or burgundy. It depends on if you want them to be long or thick or super curled or just kind of like natural. All of these things, I don't know how to tell you that. and it is something that you kind of have to trial and error. I can recommend at a different time my favorite mascaras, and if you watch some of my other videos, you can see the other ones that I use. The good news is there are a lot of them, and there are a lot of people who have reviews, and there are a lot of helpful tips and tricks from the brands about what they're supposed to do. So again, you kind of just have to know what you want and go for it. Go for it, girl. I'm not really lip lining today because I'm also about to like go work in a garage for several hours. We'll talk about lip liner later, unless I can find mine in the next 10 seconds. So for lip liner, which I like to say, like Christopher Walken says, Foo Fighters. This is like a cool neutrally brown. This is something, again, you have to know what your lip shape is. And like, I don't think I have a face or a mouth for overlining. So I just do like literally creating a shadow or creating a boundary with color on my lip. Nothing fancy. The shade of lip liner that you use is totally up to you. It's totally up to you if you want something more pink, if you want something more brown, if you want something like peachy. It's up to your face, your colors, your preference. I like having something kind of mauve, and now I've decided that I like having something a little brown. Again, it's super subtle, but it just really like does the job. The last part, this is my favorite part, my like third favorite part probably, setting spray. You will see that I am gratuitous with setting spray. This is the NYX, kind of went in my airways there. This is the NYX face glue. 24-hour wear. I don't think it's mattifying. I don't think it's mattifying or glossy or anything, but it does freaking work. And I, again, am gratuitous. That sprayer is terrible. This is from a different NYX setting spray. I'm about to, again, transfer it because this one is so much better. But it gets the job done. I typically have a fan to dry myself, but I don't have it today, so I'm just using the lid from my vanity. Also, in one of my previous videos, I think my video about touch-ups, I talk about how that makeup that I'd done lasted like 12 hours. I promise my technique is long lasting. Yes, I took a number of tips from actual professional makeup artists, but truly, like, skincare and this setting spray, you're good. You're freaking good. I live in the American Southeast. It is very warm. It is very humid. And my makeup lasts when I stand outside. It lasts when I do work in my garage. It lasts when I take naps in it. So, probably missed really important things, but also probably, hopefully, covered some really good things as well. And, oh my gosh, not sure where that went. So we're gonna find that in like 3 hours. Makeup's amazing. It's so much fun. It is something you have to experiment with, and it's something that you have to be willing to meet bumps in the road on. But when you're picking your colors and you're picking your interests and what you want, it can be so fun and so rewarding. And be careful of flying bronzer in your life. But I love makeup. I love putting it on. I love wearing it. I love learning about it. It just is, it's just fun. It's just a good time. And that's how it should make you feel. Even if it's like, oh, I'm just going to put on an eyeliner. I'm just going to do a little bit of cheek. If that is what you're like, heck yes, like I'm like, this freaking rocks. That's the outcome that you should be looking for. If you're like, I hate this, I don't want to go out, I don't want to show my face, I'm like crestfallen, wrong. That's another thing. Try a makeup look like the day before you're supposed to go out and do something. Don't try something, period, in life, like haircuts, outfits, shoes, whatever. Don't try something for the first time half an hour before you have to be somewhere. So when you're, having a quiet night at home and you've got your favorite movie on, try something. Just have a ball and say, oh, I'm just going to throw on this purple mascara and this bright green eyeshadow and just try and experiment and go into it, I think, with a mind of experimentation and learning. Because when you're expecting like, oh, I'm just going to, throw my face on and I'm going to look like Zendaya, like, well, first of all, no one's going to. Second of all, when you're going into it with, I'm going to have fun and I'm going to just look and feel like my best self, then you're going to be like, I could eat Zendaya. Point being, when you go into it with a mentality of learning and experimentation and just like wanting to have a good time, you get out of it your techniques or things that didn't work, and you get out of it like a respect and an appreciation for yourself, because not only are you like enhancing what you have, but you're also using your brain and your heart to learn things, and that is so rewarding. So that's what I love about makeup. I can't ever imagine, you know, I go through phases and I go through like different looks and whatever, but I can't imagine ever not wanting to like learn about or wanting to be interested in this, because it's just fun. It's just good freaking fun. And then, yeah, I like to look at myself in the mirror. Sorry, that's enough. That's enough of this. And peace out.